you don't care about, but somebody else really cares about?
Alright. Actually spelled the word there, I didn't even try.
Look, we all spell the same in the middle.
No, we don't have that.
You did spell a word in there, that was so funny.
I did not mean to do that, I was just
Focus.
putting letters.
Focus. Bring it back in.
Kind of having.
You don't have any?
Close to the same as us.
And find one, and look back to see what statement that is, and just decide that you're gonna talk about that one. You're only doing this to find out what sentence you're gonna talk
Oh,
about.
let's talk about.
One of the fringe benefits of this assignment is giving you empathy for me. Thanks.
There are only two of you need to be partners. I'll be partners with the three of you that are standing. I'll be partners with one of you.
I just got kicked out, alright, I'll go over here.
So you two sit somewhere. Do you agree with any of this?
Alright.
And I'll just say that with that.
What do you got?
Oh, okay, not agree very much.
I don't, I'm very disagree with it.
Alright, so we
No,
got.
what the only thing we're gonna try to do, so
We got-
we have another activity, but we're gonna explain a little bit more.
What's B?
If I say I'm somebody really important, like a boss or a teacher or something, and you really, really disagree with me on something, but I really have the
So that's a
opposite
good one.
feeling
We got B.
about the same
So
topic,
that's a-
you have to get as
Oh,
close
really?
to my,
I
the
thought she
edge
said
of the
it was
rejection
supposed
to have me get what you're saying. Does that make sense?
But, yeah, I guess we can.
So it's in this section for you. It's in this section for me.
Okay.
So you would have to, yeah.
Cool.
And so you kind of have to like get my perspective to talk me into getting closer, and I have to understand your perspective to draw you towards my direction. It's like a push pull. I don't think I really read it through that much well.
Because I was sort of.
Let me get you trouble with you guys.
That's just me, but.
So just find a random statement, just one that you can talk about that you can dish out.
I think.
You?
I'm gonna sit down because my butt's kind of awkwardly pressing against.
So
And then B.
I see yours.
Yeah, you can see mine.
So the way it goes, you guys have your latitude of acceptance, you agree with, your latitude of rejection, what you disagree with, and your latitude of non-commitment. Say we're in a class with Doyle, and he is completely rejecting something that we really, really, really agree with.
W.
W. Okay. Yeah, that was kind of a low blow. But we, as students, are going to try to have to draw him closer to what what our point is about that statement. Does that make sense? And him, on the other hand, is going to have to try to pull us closer to his side, which is the rejection side.
Yeah, like how about J? On a more serious note.
Yeah.
We might disagree on that.
Like, I have to prove to him why homework is stupid, because why do we pay for class then if we're just gonna get homework? He has to prove to us why class is important, but homework is still important. So we're both gonna have to compromise, we're both gonna have to know what the other one is trying to prove, and so that draws you closer, not necessarily into the non-commitment, but closer to the edge of whatever section you're in, if that makes sense. So find a topic and kind of just have like almost a fake argument about like how you can sway the other person to get closer to what you want them to think, rather than what you already think strongly about.
You ever looked at the NDA? Percentage of like, the age of like.
I don't care.
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, but it's.
Okay, I'll be doing it. And you're trying to tell me what you're saying.
Let's see what John.
Exactly. So you have to know, you have to get invested. That has to do with your ego involvement. If your ego involvement is really strong, you're gonna have a lot to say about it. Your involvement, you have a lot to say about it. If you have low ego involvement, you just don't want to or whatever. Find something that you have more ego involvement in.
Okay.
Yeah, summer's kind of tough because it's the world.
There's so many to choose from.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I agree with that statement because, like, what about the women who never get married? You know, just
Black
for
people are
whatever
good
reason,
sports,
or
whatever.
die, you know.
American sport.
Got divorced,
Milan,
married out, you know, something like that. How good one, I hope they die. You know, they have to find some way to
not, like, you can't attack me, I can't attack you, because if you attack, you have a boomerang effect, and you completely just, it's like, it's like when you're arguing with somebody, you go too far, and then
Right.
slap you in the face.
Okay, let's see why I disagree. Well, shoot, I don't really know. Well, I guess my mind is simply working, so they should.
So I'm gonna say that the Bible says that marriage should be between a man and a woman, so if two men try to get married, it's not a real marriage.
I'm gonna say that publicly, marriages that are like, so like celebrities, like their marriages and stuff, are put in the spotlight. So the fact that they're ruining their marriage and they're getting divorced and they're, and cheating and blah, blah, blah. They're getting a bad look for marriage rather than gay people getting married. That's my opinion. But how do we kind of, how do we kind of do the whole thing?
But just like that, like you prove to me, like, there's other people ruining the sanctity of marriage.
Right.
So that draws me a little bit closer to your end of the spectrum.
Okay,
And
okay.
I'm trying to draw you to closer, I'm trying to draw you closer to my end of the spectrum.
Okay.
I guess we can start debriefing. We're
Yeah.
kind of running out of time, so we probably should.
So, what you guys did, we're gonna go through the terminology of what you guys actually went through and how to discuss and stuff. So I heard David and Chase talking about, was it black people are better at sports than white people? And all, like, they both have ego involvement. Ego involvement is your level of, it's like being a member of a group or being really involved in something. So they are both athletes, they are both white, and they are both males. And we straight out said that black people are better at sports than they are. So instantly they kind of like resorted to that one because it has a lot to do with them. They have a lot of ego involvement in the topic, so they have a lot to talk about. The fact that they're both white, both male, and both playing sports kind of like skews whatever. We just don't have any African American people in the classroom, but the point of it was not to get the other person to agree with you, not to get the other person to disagree with you, but to draw each other closer to almost like a medium, not in the non-commitment, because that would just mean that you both, all of a sudden don't care about it, but that you would both be getting closer to the opposite ends of the spectrum that you have as your latitude of rejection and latitude of acceptance. One thing I was talking about with KP is we had a statement we were talking about, and it was homosexuality ruins the sanctity of marriage. I couldn't just come out and say, throw Bible verses at her and tell her that it's awful and that it's a sin and that everybody's going to hell, because that would cause a boomerang effect, and that causes the opposite effect of what you're trying to get. So instead of drawing her closer to my reasoning and my end of the spectrum, I just shot her the other direction because I just completely cut her off and cut her down. So instead we had a conversation of just kind of proving points to get me to believe her and to get her to believe me. And what did you guys talk about?
Men should make more money in their lifetime than women.
And how did you guys, how did the conversation go? Or what were some points that you made?
Well, Jill made a point that in a perfect world, men would be the provider of the house, but I said that we don't live in a perfect world and stuff happens and, there are situations in which women really do have to step in, otherwise their families and they won't get fed. So I think that there should be a balance, but.
And it's kind of funny because when we just were discussing like making all of these like off the wall statements, that was one that I was like, yeah, like we should. I'm like all angry about it, and we should make more money and stuff. But there's people out there that think, no, men should be the ones making money. They should make more money than us because we should be able to like be like a housewife. And I just completely don't agree with that. So it would have been interesting for me and you to sit down and talk about how we could like get it closer and further about it.
And so were you guys able to frame your questions or your statements so that you could accommodate for the other person? Like were you guys able to do that, or did you guys come more at it of just like pointing out your point of view because that's kind of what this theory is a lot different than like other persuasion. What?
Well, I said I tried, but you
Oh.
shot me down. It was like, how many, are there more black people in soccer? And, no.
See, and that would have caused the boomerang effect and had him
Yeah.
disagree with you even more.
Yeah, exactly. And because like this theory, sheriff's theory, is a lot different than other theories. Because most persuasion theories have you like create a thesis and then go to the audience and deliver it. But what he wants is more for you to take like a general idea and then look at the audience, and then based upon what the audience's perspective is, then create a thesis / argument. And so that's kind of what this theory calls for, more or less. And so, but yeah, and then when I pulled you guys up to look at the car ad examples, I had 3 different prices. One was the real price. One was a little bit inflated. The 26,000 was a little bit inflated, and then I showed one that was 42. Yeah, exactly. And so that's kind of the reaction that I wanted. The reasonable price got an okay, that's perfectly reasonable. And then 2 different reactions to the inflated price. Susan, not knowing really much about cars, kind of was stuck in non-commitment because I had no idea about them. And then Chase was able to say that no, it wasn't reasonable, but he was still willing to like bargain for a price, even though he actually estimated that the price would be lower than what the real price was. But then showing David the higher price, it pretty much just got a no, that's kind of ridiculous, and wouldn't even bargain for it. And that kind of shows the boomerang effect of how you go over the top to a certain point and then you're just rejecting it total. And we have a nice little visual thing for the boomerang effect.
Also, that showed you guys' ego involvement. Like,
Yeah.
David probably knows more about the cost of a new Dodge truck than Susan does. Proof was
As much about.
Yeah, 22.
26, 29?
22.
Oh.
The inflated was to 26.
I don't know cars, so I let him make up the
I
prices.
said 20. That's why I think.
Yeah.
I negotiate that one.
This is a little like diagram of just a little funny visual of how the boomerang effect works.
Mm-hmm. Fun little
Visually.
optical illusion once it comes up. Hopefully it's big enough on the projector for you guys to see.
So,
Stare at the dot.
Yeah,
Like
so
30 seconds, we'll
stare
say
at the
it
dot for, yeah, exactly, for
Y'all
30
know the little
seconds.
flag?
Yep. Just stare in the middle of the flag.
Yeah. And then after you're done staring at it, then blink at the white space.
There we go. Now look at the white. Do you see it?
You see that?
Yeah, I'll be more
Totally
likely to
this
see it
up.
on the white screen. I see it.
What
Do
color
you
is
see the
it?
flag of the, is it red, white, and blue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's kind of, he gives an example in the book of putting one hand in really cold water, one hand in really hot water, putting them in the middle, and they feel the opposite, the boomerang effect. This is showing you really, really bright colors, and then you're changing it really quick, and it's flipping it like instantly, and you still have that, and we just thought it was cool.
Yeah, exactly. Thought it was a nice little concrete visual for you guys to experience.
We're done.
Okay, can I chime in just a little bit?
Yeah.
Take a minute or two?
The stuff that we, yes.
This was cool, and I think this anchored a lot of what the theory is about. But one thing that I want to make sure that we don't confuse is when Sharif is talking about ideas that are in someone's latitude of rejection, when Brienne gives the idea of attacking and just being really hostile, making over-the-top statements, I want to make sure that you don't confuse the example with the principle. That probably would qualify as being inside someone's latitude of rejection, but you can make calm, reasonable, non-hostile statements that are in someone's latitude of rejection, but it'll still push them even further away from your position. And I can give you one quick example. There are 2 bits of advice that I give to freshmen in FYS, one of which I think they tend to take kind of seriously because they repeat back to me that they're trying, and the other one that they just completely reject out of hand. So I have this long rap I give freshmen in FYS about how they need to get lots and lots of sleep. And the ones who survive their freshman year will be the ones who make a habit of getting enough sleep. Now, what freshmen want to do is stay up late and do things with their friends. And there's a certain amount of bragging that goes in about, oh, look how sleepy I am. Oh, we were up till 4. We made a Walmart run. But in the back of their mind, they know that it is actually kind of a good thing to get enough sleep. So that's right inside their latitude of acceptance. And I have some who will come to me and say, I'm trying to get enough sleep. I heard what you said. Let me give you an example of latitude of rejection. Because I tell students, you should study with nothing playing. No TV, no music, dead silence. But the music helps me concentrate. No, it doesn't. But the silence is too quiet. That's just because you're not used to it. If you took 2 full weeks and studied in dead silence for 2 full weeks, at the end of it, you would wonder what took you so long. And forgive me, I'm dead right about that, but it's in their latitude of rejection, and they boomerang even further away from me, because it's just not something they're prepared to entertain at all. So I just wanted to throw that out as what's in their latitude of rejection doesn't have to have hostility. It just has to be something that when they hear it, they, not even going to think about that one. That's just wrong. Okay, activity is good though. Anyone have lingering questions about social judgment, or are we going to stage part 2 of class now?
Part two.
Okay.